Hello and welcome back here at Titans RX. It's Q3 coming up, and Timmy, hello.
Hello.
How are you finding it here today so far?
I've had a quite a tough day. I was starting fifth in Q1, fourth in Q2, and it's tough to get back into the inside. I made two good launches, but it's quite hard out there. I think the pace has been good. I really enjoyed all the racing. But I think I need a good Q3 now to get up in the standings for the semi. So yeah, it's not all easy, but I'm enjoying it. There's been some really great battles, some great races, and I just have to put everything together now for Q3.
You know this circuit really well, so what do you think it is that you have found quite challenging today?
I think it's just Rallycross, it's not always easy. It's big battles, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and today I've had two good runs, but I haven't been in the front, and that's where I want to be. So I will try my best now to have a good launch and see where we can come out. But also we are chasing in qualifying for starting position in the semi, but then finally championship points are only handed out in the final. So I'm gonna do my best now, but even if it doesn't go well, it's all to play for in the semi and then in the final. So it's still everything open, and again, this track is fantastic. It is challenging and you have to get everything right, but it's also easy to make mistakes, and that encourages pausing, and you have to be ready all the time.
Yeah, and that's why we all love Rallycross. So thank you very much for talking to us. Good luck out there. Let's go over to the highlights.
Hugely exciting from start to finish, and this is some highlights of the brilliant racing we've had so far. You can see Grosjean going into the first corner of the lead. Tom Coronel there taking a penalty lap following an incident that he had in Q1. These are highlights of Q2 that we had earlier on. There is Grosjean leading the way. This is Perry going very deep down in turn one. Also, then we saw Oliver Webb versus Tom Coronel, and also Riley Sample involved in the mix. Ollie Webb trying to find his way up the inside of Sample. They went side by side into the long right-hander and still continued on battling through the race. Then we saw Tom Coronel versus Riley Sample into the barrier for Sample, and broken front suspension there for him, or some kind of a steering arm or something like that. Either way, it put him out of the race, and then the car had to be recovered. No such dramas though for the Frenchman Jérôme Grosjean. He took an easy victory in Q2 race 1. Great to turn around his fortunes. Then race 2 we saw Tamara Molinaro getting a very good advantage, and you see Armindo Araujo there, the local wildcard, in second position. Molinaro got punted a little bit wide there by the Portuguese driver, meaning she dropped to the back of the field after taking an early lead. Araujo then led commandingly over the course of the race, looking very comfortable behind the wheel of his Pantera RX6 supercar. As you can see, Shushu piling the pressure onto Ivan Arnes here, the Spanish wildcard in Portugal. Meanwhile, then came under pressure from Ronnie Searock. Ronnie Searock, the German driver, trying to find his way past the Hungarian. All to no avail right at the very end of that race. Lots of hugely exciting racing over the course of this one. Riding on board with Shushu, you can just see how little visibility he had behind the wheel of his Pantera in the dust on this section. There is the battle between Ronnie Searock and Shushu. Here is Armindo Araujo leading the way very commandingly ahead of Ivan Arnes, coming over the line to take victory in race 2 of Q2. Then fireworks in Q2 race 3. Lots of exciting action. The Hansen brothers getting away from the lights very well. And you can also see Craig Breen and Tommy Haken not getting too bad of a start. Breen went into the side of Kevin Hansen. Haken leaned on Timmy Hansen as well, and then we saw Haken leaning also on Andy Jordan, finding his way past, pretty much ending any hopes of a podium battle for the British driver. Kevin Hansen then led quite commandingly ahead of Craig Breen. Breen began to pile the pressure onto the sweep, tried to find his way past, but however, Kevin Hansen was parking his car exactly where Craig Breen didn't want him to. Great defensive driving as Tommy Haken and Timmy Hansen became involved in this battle. Nearly a four-way scrap for the race lead. Coming onto the final lap is where it got very interesting between Breen and Tommy Haken, with Breen still trying to pile that pressure onto Kevin Hansen. However, as we said, on that final lap is where things got very interesting indeed. You can see Breen here putting that pressure onto Kevin Hansen, but then Breen left the door open. Kevin Hansen said thank you very much, sent it up the inside. A little bit of contact between those two drivers, over the curb as well for Craig Breen, but Haken was up into second on the final lap against Kevin Hansen. Hugely exciting racing here in Titans RX Europe. My name is Tom Brooks, and alongside me, Max Pucher, CEO of Titans RX. Max, great to have you here. What brilliant race we've had today.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I really love this racetrack. I've raced on it myself. I raced for it 3 years with my World Championship team And it's always been absolutely fantastic with this very long gravel section, a track that is highly technical, that requires the drivers to be really, really accurate in finding the right point for the load change on the car. And if you can do that really well, and we see it happening with the rally drivers, then the racing becomes immensely exciting.
It really has been very exciting,
Yeah.
and we're expecting more of that in Q3 coming up later, aren't we?
Absolutely. I'm sure that the car drivers will fight very hard to improve their positions for the semi-final. So I'm looking really forward to see what they're going to make of this track in the Q3.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a brief look, shall we, at the standings of the qualifying sessions and see how it all lines up. And you can see here Timmy Hansen just guiding us through a look at the Montalegre circuit.
Tough for the engines to get up to top speed, but it ends up with a big braking. And we're going to be 5 cars heading into this kind of narrow corner and really slow. I'm guessing it will be first gear. It will be a hard start corner, but you have to have your elbows out and make sure that you get the space that you need to get the exit right and start the race in a good way. You want to exit here first. After turn 1, we have a combination of sweeping tarmac corners, quite a fast section before we come into the gravel, and that's what this track is all about. It's quite loose gravel, and you go from corner to corner playing with the car, always keeping it sideways. And one of the most interesting things are these massive curbs. This one, you see, it's over like 1.5 meters wide, is it? And I think I'm probably gonna use everything of this. And you have to be so aggressive. Full sideways on the gravel, full up on the curb, and on to the next one. This corner that we are on right now is one of my favorite corners in Rallycross overall. You're coming in through a right-hander, you're full on the throttle, wheel spin, and you have to keep that slide before going on the brakes to hit this second apex right here. And towards the end of the lap, it's very narrow. It's like threading a needle through the walls. It's very hard to overtake in the last part, so this is probably the best chance of getting past someone right at the end of the lap before the finish line.
Very interested to hear Timmy Hansen's perspective of this Montalegre circuit. Straight into Q3 then, and let's see who lines up where on the grid for the first race of the afternoon then. So the cars all lined up, the Pantera RX6 supercars all in position, and it's Ollie Webb who starts on pole position. Alongside him, Tamara Montalegre, the fast starter from Q2. Tom Coronel there making his debut in TitansRX in the middle alongside Perry McCarthy and Riley Sample. That's a bit of a tantalising prospect down to turn 1.
Yeah, they are definitely going to have to be very careful. Every one of them really wants to improve their position to make it into the semi-final. So I think
yeah, they certainly are. You're quite right there, Max. So the lights are on then, ready to race board to show here at Montalegre. There is Ollie Webb, the driver, starting on pole position. Can he convert that into a lead at the first? Race board is shown. Green lights to come on. Race 3. Q1 at TitansRX here at Montalegre. Oh, and a jump start there for McCarthy and for Riley Sample here as well. That means they're going to have to go back, and crucially, Max, as well, a penalty lap for both of those drivers.
well, actually, the guy who's been in this starts first, so maybe didn't see it exactly.
Yeah, no, you're quite right there, actually. It could be McCarthy. I think he was the first to jump, so that's not what McCarthy was. He's outside of those top 12 for the semi-finals as well, so...
Yeah, that's a tough start for Q3.
Definitely so. Well, there is Riley Sample just making himself put it into position. And what does it do for a driver at this point when you have a delayed start? You've probably been in this position yourself when you have a jump start. Does it deter your focus at all?
Yeah, it's really difficult because you all said your mind is only focused on the green light, and then if everything kind of gets stopped and restarted, it's not easy to refocus and
Yeah, it certainly does seem to be the case. We're just waiting for confirmation on the driver that will get the penalty up. I think it was McCarthy who just made the initial creep there over the line. We'll just wait for the confirmation. I've got confirmation in my ear now that McCarthy does indeed have the penalty lap following that jump start. So that is disappointing there for McCarthy. It's been a challenging round 5 for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. But the start is a really difficult procedure that you have to go through. You have to feel where your clutch point is. And if you just overdo a little, the clutch moves out.
And blast off. Good start there from Tom Coronel, a bit of a good start from Molinaro as well as they drag down towards the first corner. Sample versus McCarthy side by side on the outside. Look at Ollie Webb there on the inside. Here comes Molinaro down the inside. She manages to take the lead into turn one. Ollie Webb on the inside as well of Tom Coronel and McCarthy. Does take the penalty lap and contact as well again for Molinaro at the first corner, putting her out of contention. And that does mean that Ronnie Sample now inherits third position. Very, very big drama there. Is Ollie Webb going very sideways in the background, and Tom Coronel, well, I think Christmas has come early for him there because it's been a challenging start to his weekend so far, hasn't
The tarmac drivers that come to these tracks the first time for them.
Oh, hang on a second, I can see the red flag out in the background. Sorry to cut in front of you there, Max. So, yeah, the red flag has been displayed, and that is why, because Tamara Molinaro's car is stranded on the circuit for one reason or another. That is due to damage of the car. Right suspension.
I can't really see it exactly, but she apparently wasn't able to move the car in time.
Yeah, that is disappointing. And again, that's exactly what we've seen with this sort of loss of focus. Molinaro really trying to fight her way back through. That is going to put her out of contention, sadly, in Q3. If she can't get the car back, of course, it will have to be recovered under its own power.
Yeah, I mean, with this damage, it's absolutely unable to start in the semi-final.
Yeah, that is disappointing there for Tamara Molyneux, considering as well she's had really good pace so far this weekend. She's really made that step forward.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of improvement with her driving. Her starts have been excellent. She had perfect reaction time, so it's really disappointing.
Well, let's try and piece together exactly what happened at turn one then, because Molinaro made a really, really impressive start. But again, the second time she's had contact. So here we are, she's in the lead at turn one. You see Ollie Webb on the inside there with Tom Coronel as well. And yeah, contact with Coronel and then Webb getting into the side of it as well. That's where the suspension went. That is Molinaro's race sadly over, and probably weekend over at the first corner.
Yeah, it looked really like it was kind of a combination of things that happened. First, Molinaro went a little bit wide.
Foi o toque de Tom Coronel dentro da curva, ou seja, é sempre dentro da curva que as coisas estão a acontecer. E foi um toque no sítio bastante sensível, foi na roda e acabou por sair braço de suspensão. O Oliver Webb vai aqui a arrastar.
I've been talking to the drivers and actually told
E ele vai correr. Mesmo com a roda assim, ele vai correr. Piloto do carro no 4.
It's a very long run down towards turn one as well. If you look at the likes of SA or Linton Hill, where we've been so far, very short comparatively down to turn one. Here they've got a lot of speed and they've got to scrub off a lot of speed. So it's a unique challenge so far.
Well, there is a lot of dust on the track that kind of gets blown on by the wind, and you are never perfectly sure how much traction you're going to have as you brake. You can see that the cars are swerving left, right as they brake very hard, and then to have the absolute perfect speed into the corner and not leave a gap open, that takes quite a lot of concentration.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, you can see Tom Coronel, they're just making his way to the grid. He'll be there in a few moments time. All the cars, of course, routing themselves back round. They'll go back onto that pre-grid area and then get themselves back onto the grid. You see Ronnie Sample there just on the outside of your shot there. So this is now the third time that these drivers are going to have to be making a start in this race. So it's not ideal for them, probably not ideal for the clutches, I think.
It's can be an issue that
how hard is it to launch a rallycross? Because it looks from the outside like it's quite a difficult thing to get it off the line quickly.
Well, there's a lot of things that you have to do to set up the car. You have to properly adjust your launching revs. You have to properly set your ALS so you get the right boost for the start. And then you have to follow the sequence of turning on ALS, turning on the launch, holding the handbrake, engaging the gear, holding the handbrake, pushing full throttle on the clutch, and with the launch button, wait for green. But you have to go through this procedure, and we practiced with a few of the drivers yesterday, and we saw that it was not that easy for them. So everybody coming off the line here well actually is really doing.
And you started your rallycross career quite late in life. So I mean, how difficult was it for you to learn that initially?
Well, I was sitting there, somewhere in my room at night, going through the start procedure, and my mind over and over again until you basically do it in your dreams, effectively. And I know that I fell asleep a few times doing that.
I mean, that depletes the other half, didn't it?
Yeah.
Sitting there trying to engage the clutch while she's trying to sleep, swift kick in the leg or something.
Yeah, you kind of choke the bed when you get to it.
Well, there is Tamara Molinaro's car just being recovered following that drama on the opening lap. Disappointment there for Tamara Molinaro. You can see down onto the pre-grid section. Here is Armindo Arujo, the local wildcard. He's been very popular with the local fans here this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's doing incredibly well. He has so much car control. He managed to get into this different type of car extremely quickly. He clearly can obviously use his rally experience perfectly on this track. And for him, the new thing, and we talked about it after the first races, is that he has
Na pole desta corrida, o quarto da linha mais interior.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, well, yes, it seems like he's certainly enjoying his top Coronel. Sadly, I've just been given notification that he is actually going to have a penalty lap following that contact at the first corner. And Perry McCarthy, because of that jump start he had in the first iteration, does also mean that he will have to retake that penalty lap. The race, of course, being red flagged before the first lap was completed, does mean that that's the result of it. There is Tom Coronel's car, not actually lined up on the grid here either, so maybe he's not going to be making the start here as well.
Yeah, I haven't really seen what happened to him, whether his car had a technical problem, but it could be that he basically can't make it.
Yeah, exactly. You can see him there with a bit of bodywork damage on the front bumper of his Pantera RX6. So you can see there McCarthy and Sample are lined up on the grid here. I don't know where Ollie Webb is. Maybe he's not been able to make the start. The green flag, though, is waved at the back. It is going to be a two-car race down towards the first corner. McCarthy versus Sample here at Titans RX. Green there for McCarthy, and he's going to have to take another penalty lap. Surely this is not what McCarthy wanted, and arguably this has been his best opportunity, really, to have a good result.
Yeah, it gets more and more difficult. As Richard said before, the clutch gets really hot, and it gets more and more difficult to actually control the clutch and stop the car from creeping off the line. So we'll see what happens. I think he's not going to get disqualified because it's his restart, it's his first mistake. So I think it's going to work fine.
Well, the good news is that, of course, McCarthy has the opportunity to do this all again tomorrow with round 6. And that's the great thing about the format with Titans RX, is that if it doesn't get your way on the first day, the second day is a great way to turn things around.
Yeah, especially for the drivers that came here for the first time, you know, they can see the first day as a practice day and then have a really good day second day. And I think for the local guys like Ivan and Armindo, they're going to do really well tomorrow.
Exactly right. Well, you can see there Perry McCarthy is now lined up in position. Hopefully we'll be able to get this Q3 race 1 underway very shortly. Apologies for the delays in proceedings that have resulted from the dramas that we've had so far. So the green flag then is waving back, waiting for the revs to rise. Ready to race board is displayed here at Titans RX at Montalegre. Wait for that green light to come on and we will get ready to go racing. Green light comes on, good launch from Sample, good launch from McCarthy down towards that first corner. They go nearly side by side. McCarthy gets a better initial stage and he is going to obviously, I assume, take that penalty lap straight off early doors. Yeah, exactly what he needs to do there, McCarthy. Get it out of the way as soon as he can.
Yeah, that is the best strategy in this situation, and then try to catch up with his
And what about Ronnie Sample? He's the only driver who's using handhelds, a very unique set of circumstances that he has to deal with. How impressed have you been with his adaptation?
I think he's been with his rally car, the rally track. That he, in his situation and with this type of different technique, can keep up with world-class drivers is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, I'd say he's doing a very good job out there so far. There is McCarthy in second position. Of course, he has had to take that penalty lap, has Perry McCarthy. Ronnie Sample sliding his way through that first corner. And this Montalegre circuit, as we said, a lot of drivers saying it's very, very dusty. On the front,
yeah, there's constant change. You never go through the same every lap you take, you have a different track. Very focused on finding your best position on the track.
What's the most challenging part of the circuit? I personally, from an outsider's perspective, it looks like the final corner is very unique because it's very fast and flowing before that.
The final corner to do it really fast takes a lot of guts because you basically have to rotate the car very early. You have to stay on the throttle, not at all make a mistake, you can't slow the car down because there's no room.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, here is Perry McCarthy, who's actually slowing down on the circuit for one reason or another, so it looks like we might have some technical dramas here for Perry McCarthy, which does reduce it now to just Ronnie Sample, who is, well, going to be having one of his best results of the season so far.
Well, it's a pity that it happens this way, but
cars are brand new. It's, these Pantera RX6 are specifically designed for TitansRX Europe. And talk to us about the design process for these machines. I mean, what sort of duration was it from the start of it to getting a completed car?
Well, we actually spent a lot of time considering how we could make the cars very durable. And when you see that when they're treated more or less reasonably, that they're very, very durable. There are very few problems with the engineering of the car. And basically the suspension is like a Dakar design, and therefore the car is really strong and really takes all the punishment.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, Rally's doing a good job leading the way as things stand at the moment, and just minding his way through these final couple of corners. One more lap to go here for Ryan Sample. It's not going to be a groundbreaking time, but it is going to be, crucially, 30 points on the board for him, so that will be a very welcome result going into the semis and the finals in theory.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he's made it through and that he could finish this race, because that's going to put him forward in the position, and that's going to make his position in the semi-finals a lot better.
Yeah, exactly right there. And, well, of course, the unique circumstances of this race does mean that Ryan Sample is the only car left circulating on track here for Q3 Race 1 at Montalegre. Lots of cars suffering damage tomorrow. Molinaro, Oliver, Tom Coronel, and also then Perry McCarthy with those technical dramas. And, well, Ryan Sample doing a really good job of just keeping things pointing in the right direction and doing a good job of leading the way through this final series of corners. A very impressive result it has been for the Austrian driver. Kept his calm, kept his head where others faltered, comes over the line, and he takes victory in Q3 Race 1 here at Montalegre. Ronnie Sample on top, Perry McCarthy, a DNF for him, being the one of only 2 starters out there on circuit. So exactly what we needed to see there for Ronnie Sample, and as we said, really good for his chances going on later into this weekend. See him there on his cool-down lap at the moment there, Ronnie Sample, and just moaning his way back into pit lane, of course, and then we'll have the drivers making their way back down to the grid for race 2 of Q3 in just a few moments' time. In the meantime, let's actually go down to Rachel. I think Perry McCarthy and potentially Ollie Webb down here as well in the pre-grid section here at Montalegre. So let's go down and see who Rachel's found.
Tom, Ollie, Perry, first of all, Ollie, what happened out there?
Yeah, just a bit tight into turn 1, got into the lead, and then me and Tom were quite close, and no fault from Tom or myself. We were just quite close over the chicanes, and I think his front right hit my rear left, and that broke both his toe link and my toe link, I think. So that was it. I was sideways all the way through and tried to carry on, obviously because I was in the lead, but that was it. We were told we couldn't restart.
But we've got tomorrow, and this is the brilliant thing about this Rallycross Championship. If you have a bad first day, hopefully you can have a great second day.
That's what we want, and I can see Ollie as well go, yeah, it's all true, it's all true. Thank you, Perry, thank you, Ollie. Back to you, Tom.
Thank Andrew Jordan alongside him, and then Ronnie Searock on the right-hand side of your picture. Grosjean, of course, fresh from a victory in Q2. Can he convert that into another victory here in Q3? Wait for those lights to come on. Ready to race board is about to be displayed. That green flag will be waved at the back, and we'll get ready to get Q3 Race 2 underway here at Montalegre in the sunshine in Portugal. Cars lined up then on the grid, ready to race board is displayed. Green flag is waving back, revs are rising, ready for a start with the green lights come on, it goes away now. Good start from Rujo, good start also from Grosjean in down towards the first corner. Andy Jordan also getting away well, as is Ronnie Searock. Rujo has the early lead, but will he hold it going through into turn 1? Hard on the brakes, they go through the first corner, and Shushu into the back there almost of Andy Jordan. A little bit wide there for Jordan as well, that's going to allow Shushu to fall alongside him. Up the inside he goes, very close quarters between those two drivers, but Jordan does hold on, and he gets up to second place, but very close as they mine their way through the dust. But Mindo Arujo, the local wildcard, absolutely textbook starts. So going through the right-hander, we are there, Armindo Araujo. That was a brilliant start there, wasn't it, Max? And very close quarters also between Andy Jordan and Shushu in these days.
Well, we can see that they're gaining a little bit of experience how to behave in the first corner. You can see that everybody's kind of trying to avoid any big carnage, and they did a pretty good job, making this corner.
Well, we see Ron there looking very aggressive against Jerome Grayson, going through the right-hander on turn one, through the left and then into the right, onto the dirt section they go once again. Ronnie Searock has got a really good launch there, but just hasn't been able to convert that into a good position after this open.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult with cars all being the same. If you kind of drift out and you lose your position, to immediately recover it, it requires then lap after lap of accurate driving to catch up to somebody else and possibly put on overtake maneuver.
Just been given notice that Shushu, we're right on board with him now, has been given a warning. I believe that must be for contact on the opening lap with Andrew Jordan. So any more, and he might incur a penalty lap. You can see just how little that he can see going through that first corner. Here comes Ronnie Searock as well. He's very aggressive. And again, Ronnie, another driver who doesn't necessarily have a lot of experience in Rallycross, stunt driver by trade, making his debut in Rallycross this year. It's very impressive, though.
I think he's doing really, really well. He can use the experience from his stunt driving. He knows how to drift, he knows how to qualify the car. So it's really, really interesting to see him compete with the world-class Rallycross drivers.
Well, Andrew Jordan there looking very aggressive as well. He's looking like he's going to try and find a way past Armindo Araujo, who's all sorts of sideways out of the final corner. The Portuguese driver looking spectacular. Jordan down the inside at turn number one. The Briton takes the lead here at Montalegre in Q3 race 2. Brilliant stuff there from Andrew Jordan. He hits the front, and that is exactly what he needs to try and turn around what has been a challenging round 5 for him. But there he's sideways through the right-hander, and he loses it as well. He's spun out and he's gone wide, and that's allowed Shushu to find his way past into third position. He just cuts back in front of Jerome Grosjean in, so Andrew Jordan led the way for a matter of a couple of corners, and now Armindo Araujo has got a clear ticket to try and take this victory.
Yeah, it's really difficult, the load change on this track. As I said, every lap is different. You have to be so accurate that you can't not rightly overdo it because the car will spin out immediately.
Look at Grosjean in as well. He's trying to find his way past Andrew Jordan down towards turn one. He's looking aggressive. He's looking to try and find his way through, but Jordan cuts the nose off of the Frenchman. Can't find his way past at the moment. Can Grosjean in? And that's the thing we saw. We saw this earlier with Kevin Hansen. If you put your car in the right position here at Montalegre, you can defend it very well.
It's a very defensible track, but you have to be a very accurate driver. If you just overdo it a little bit too much, you take it wide and somebody will pass you on the inside.
That is exactly right, and Andrew Jordan just trying to gap now Grosjean in. Shushu, Christmas come early for the Hungarian driver, now into second position, and Armindo Araujo, he took a victory in Q2, and he comes over the line to take victory here in Q3 as well. Armindo Araujo, the Portuguese driver, on top here in TitansRX. Shushu in second, Andrew Jordan takes third, Jerome Grosjean in fourth, and Ronnie Searock there in fifth position. That was a very exciting race, wasn't it?
That was a really good race. It was good to see that they were all kind of being cautious in the first corner, not to cause some carnage and lose them the position, because all of them are really, really interested in making it to the semi-final in a good position, and I'm really glad that all of them made it through, and now we're going to see what their lineup for the semi-final is going to be.
Certainly will, and Armindo Araujo doing exactly what he needed to do as well to secure his place in that semi-final and potentially even into a very good starting position here as well. Shushu there in second position, Andrew Jordan in third place. Not a bad race there for Andy Jordan, considering he had made an error going into that left-hander and of course lost that lead. Let's have a look at that now, shall we, and look at some highlights from Q3 race 2 here at Montalegre. So then here we are away from the lights. Really good launch there from Armindo Araujo. And that launch there from Jordan. This is where it all concertinaed up, Max.
Yeah, that was actually where he got some contact on the rear, and that pushed him a little bit wide and lost him a position.
You can see there Shushu as well. He was very aggressive against Andrew Jordan in those early stages.
Yeah,
was that a bit too aggressive, or was that on the limits?
No, I think everything that happened here is completely normal incident in the first corner. I didn't see any behavior that wasn't correct.
Stuff there. Here was Araujo. He was leading the way then quite commandingly, and Andrew Jordan, he had great pace, didn't he, in these mid stages?
Oh, absolutely. I think he really did very well, and it's really a pity that after this perfect overtake maneuver on the long straight that he lost the car in the tight gravel corner.
And then you see him trying to find his way through, found his way up the inside of the Portuguese, down in towards turn one, into the race lead, but only for a handful of corners. It was going into this left-hander. bit too wide through there?
Yeah, I think he just missed his braking point a bit, and then the car starts to understeer, and there's not much you can do except try to save it.
Well, exactly what he did. He did manage to save it. He managed to save a top 3 position at the end of that one. Shushu finishing in second. Gross edging in fourth as the drivers came over the line. Armindo Arujo, sideways and spectacular. Exactly what we love to see in Rallycross, and especially in Titans RX as well. Let's have a look at the final results then from race 2 of Q3 here at Titans RX. So Armindo Arujo on top, 30 points on the board for the local driver. Shushu in second place, Andrew Jordan in third, Jerome Gross edging in there in fourth position, and Ronnie Searock down in fifth place. Very exciting stuff here at Titans RX Europe in Montalegre. And now our focus, of course, does shift over to Q3, race 3, and this is where it's going to get exciting because, well, in terms of the lineup, we've got Heikkinen, we've got the 2 Hansen brothers in there, we've got Ivan Ardes as well, local driver, well, local to Spain, of course, which isn't too far from here, making his Titans RX debut do well.
Yeah, Ivan is actually doing an absolutely fantastic job. Initially, when he drove the car, he said, it's quite different and it's quite complex, but he has adapted really fast.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, let's have a look at the lineup then, shall we? The grid lineup for race 3 of Q3 here at Montalegre. So Kevin Hansen starts on pole position. Alongside him, Topi Heikkinen. Keep an eye out for Craig Breen. He's in the middle of your shot there. He's been very fast and very competitive so far this weekend. Ivan Ardes there in the outer shot, and then Timmy Hansen right on the very outside. So the 2 Hansen brothers, they'll be hoping for fast starts. Does it make it difficult when you're starting on the outside, going in towards a right-handed corner for turn 1?
Well, normally when they do the Joker lap, the outside position is actually not such a bad one because it puts you in the best position to take it first. In our situation where we don't do the Joker lap, it's actually a pretty tough starting position, and you have to wait and see what happens, whether you get away well and you can turn into the right, or you just have to line up in the rear and try to pass somebody on the inside.
Well, these Hansen brothers, they know how to get these cars launched off the line. Ivan Ardes there, just to the left of Timmy Hansen, and of course Craig Breen in the middle. Very impressive it has been from Craig Breen in only his second ever Titans RX event then. So just waiting for the drivers and the field to clear the grid here at Montalegre. Fantastic views here at Montalegre as well. On the top of a mountain we are, and it is one of the most picturesque circuits that we will come to in Titans RX in 2019. All the Panteras lined up then on the grid. The tension begins to rise as the drivers get ready to see who will get the best launch down towards the first corner. Revs are rising here at Montalegre Q3. Race 3 about to get underway. Who will get the best launch down to the first corner? Lights out and blast off. Good start there from Heikkinen. Good launch also from Kevin Hansen on the inside. Timmy Hansen getting away well, nearly 4 wide down to the first corner. Who's going to break first? Who's going to lean first? Oh, Hansen on the outside there, gets collected by Craig Breen. He's going to be in the gravel, and Breen as well leans on him, and they both lose out massively there at the first corner as Topi Heikkinen takes over at the front from Kevin Hansen.
Yeah, this was a very good move from Heikkinen to stay in this clean line and try to stay way out of trouble, and that actually
very impressive stuff there from Topi Heikkinen, using his head exactly where he needed to, flat out and completely sideways. Absolutely sending it was Topi Heikkinen. He said that in an interview earlier on with Rachel, and that is exactly what he is doing here in Q3. Very impressive stuff. And now Kevin Hansen is going to try and find his way past the Finnish driver. How difficult is it when you're following another car to you've got to find out where they're going first and then pick your line and just try and keep that gap at a constant?
Well, that depends. You know, if it's a very experienced driver, they will know exactly which line to take, so it's the most difficult overtake position. And obviously, either you manage to go a lot faster, or you just have to drive a bit more protectively. And these drivers, these top drivers, know exactly what to do.
That is exactly what they're doing at the moment with Ivan Ardes. He was going to pressure from Timmy Hansen through that long banked right-hander there as well. Going through the right-hander they are. Did Hansen manage to find his way past? He did get his way through on Ivan Ardes there. So Timmy Hansen now into third position. That is absolutely brilliant stuff. All these Panteras, of course, absolutely identical, Max, there as well. And that's the thing we love about Titans, is it makes that level playing field for all these drivers.
Yeah, that's really great that there is no discussion whether a driver is better or the car is better, but this is really all about the driver, and that is one of the key points that we want to achieve.
Well, what about the difference in grip as well when you go from tarmac onto this loose stuff? I mean, how do you set the car up for something like that?
Well, you basically have to just adjust the speed properly, that you lost most of the speed that you need for the corner already in the tarmac. Want to float it early, rotate the car as early as possible and line it up correctly for the exit.
Tommy Aikinen doing a really good job of lining it up correctly for the exit, coming on to the penultimate lap here at Montalegre. Kevin Hansen in second, Timmy Hansen there in third place, and even Ares there coming under more pressure as well. Still from Craig Breen down to the first corner. Breen goes for the wide line. He's going to try and get the switch back through turn one, but he's not quite close enough to make anything stick. Very clear on the exit though for Craig Breen there. Gets great drive. Is that going to allow him to close up? Not quite to get himself ahead of Ivan Ares here.
Yeah, it was very close. He really managed
Oh, he's on the curb.
Wow. Tough bet, and he really wants to go past.
Here he goes, he's through, he's up the inside of Ivan Ares, bit of contact, bit of rubbing there for Craig Breen. He finds his way into fourth position, but Ares says no thank you, and he tries to find his way back through as well, through into the left, and Breen does manage to hold off the charge of Ivan Ares. Absolutely brilliant stuff here. What a great race, and has Ares hit some problems there. It looks like he's hit some strife because he's gone slow. Did he have some contact with Breen that's caused some damage to his car, or something might have happened there to Ivan Ares by the looks of things?
Yeah, it looks like he spun a little bit and he basically had to recover the car, and that can easily cost you a couple of seconds.
What about Toppy Hagen here as well? I mean, he's out in front, leading the way quite commandingly, but he is sliding his way through. It's a spectacular driving style, but is he quick?
Well, the main point is that the track changes so much. You now have all these deep ruts in the track, and you are trying to find a way through the fastest line, but you're basically just trying to avoid the deep holes and keep it on top.
Tommy Hagen takes victory in Q3, race 3 here at Montalegre. Kevin Hansen finishing in second, double Hansen top 3 in third position there, with Timmy finishing in third place. And then, of course, Craig Breen in fourth. Ivan Ares finishing away down following that drama on the penultimate lap. He finishes in fifth position. But a very exciting race that, and it makes it hugely tantalising going in towards the semis and the finals later on here this afternoon at Montalegre. Toppy Hagen there, though, I tell you what, he's driven so sensibly and so maturely. You can tell that his experience in Rallycross is very beneficial. Let's have a look at some highlights then from race 3 of Q3 here at Montalegre then, shall we? And see exactly what happened. Looks like broken rear suspension there for Ivan Ares. His car's crabbing quite a bit.
Yeah, he apparently hit something, or when the cars had a contact, his rear suspension.
Look at that then for the first corner. That was Timmy Hansen. Just, well, it's interesting because it was 3 into 1. 3 into 1 doesn't generally go, and especially not here.
No, that doesn't work, but they managed to actually handle it quite sensibly without causing a lot of damage.
Well, Toppy Hagen, meanwhile, leading the way after he got himself ahead of Kevin Hansen at that first corner, going through the right-hander. We were running on board with Timmy Hansen at that particular stage as he was trying to get his way past Ivan Ares. He did manage to find his way through into that long right-hander. Toppy Hagen, meanwhile, absolutely brilliant drive here from the Finn. It's just been so sensible, so mature. And what about this move from Craig Breen here? These guys gave each other as good as they got.
I think this was a perfect move by Craig, and also trying to do it again from Ares was just right. You can see that Ares actually at this point apparently had already some damage on the rear wheel.
Yeah, broken toe link there by the looks of things for Ivan Ares. Disappointment there for him, but it does mean he still finishes on the road in 5th position, so still a handful of points which will be useful for the Spaniard here at TitansRX Europe in Montalegre. Let's have a look, shall we, at the results in a few moments' time here at the circuit, and hopefully we'll be talking to a few drivers who Rachel is going to be going down and talking to a few of them in a few moments' time, trying to see exactly what their thoughts were after some tantalising racing in Q3 here in Portugal. How impressed are you here, Max, with the quality of racing, the closeness that we've seen through the field?
It's just so fantastic to see all these cars, you know, going through these very long drift corners, all of them perfectly aligned and very close together, very tight racing. So I think it's some of the best racing that we've seen this year in the series. And SA and Lydden Hill have already been perfect, and now we have this racing here, so it's just as good as it can be from my perspective.
Absolutely, and the crowd here loving it as well at Montalegre. So let's have a look, shall we, at the final results of Q3 Race 3 here at TitansRX Europe in Montalegre, and just get final confirmation of who finished where. So Toppy Hagen, of course, on top, 30 more points on the board for the Finn, ahead of Kevin and Timmy Hansen in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Craig Breen in 4th place, Ivan Ares there inside the top 5 as well. Good 10 points on the board despite the damage that he had on his car. In the meantime, though, let's go down to Rachel, who is with Kevin Hansen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. Kevin, second. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, it was okay. I had a really good launch, and then I got a bit pushed wide in turn 1, which was a shame. Then I think it's really equal between us in the top. So Heikkinen was just in the front, but I left the gap to save the car a bit. So we are through to the semis in a good position, which is all that matters. So it's no points for the championship to score here. So a nice steady run. I'm trying to fight with myself. I've been sick for a few days, so I'm trying to keep up. So I will do my best to stay strong for the afternoon.
And the battles out there are pretty epic. Why do you think that is? What is it about this circuit?
I think it's a long way down to turn one, and then a really tight turn one, which makes it a bit of a big drama. Then it's a really nice rhythm. It's quite difficult to overtake, I would say, but the action in turn one makes it all. So we'll have to work for the semi to keep that P1.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you for talking to us, and well done for getting second. And back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much indeed, Rachel. Yeah, welcome up to the TitansRX stage. Tom and Max up here guiding you through those races. And I tell you what, a smile from ear to ear for Kevin Hansen, and a smile from ear to ear also for yourself. You were beaming looking at Kevin there after that.
I'm so glad that he made it, and he can perform so well, because he was sick all week after he came back from Canada, and he was still asleep all day yesterday. And he showed up in the evening and said, "Max, I think I'm going to make it." So that for me was actually very good that we don't miss him, and that he's part of this race this weekend.
It really is, yeah. And the Hansen brothers, of course, bring so much experience and so much enthusiasm to Titans, which is exactly what we love. Let's take a look, shall we, at the results of Q3 here at Montalegre and get confirmation of who finished where in terms of the time points after the session. So you can see Tommy Heikkinen, he set a 3 minute 24.104. Kevin Hansen and Timmy Hansen not too far adrift there. Armindo Arujo and Craig Breen inside the top 5 as well. Then Shushu, Andy Jordan, Gross Asian Ronnie Searock, Arez Sample, Perry McCarthy with those DNFs, as well as Ollie Webb, Tamara Molinaro, and of course Tom Coronel. In terms of the actual points that it means for these drivers, well, of course, you see that Tommy Heikkinen gets an extra 30 points on the board, and that's going to be pretty important for him.
Yeah, I think if he wants to be on the pole position, which I think he should manage with these points, and we can see that he does, having the fastest time obviously is really, really important.
Hugely exciting. So you can see here the standings then for the end of Q3 and the standings going into the semi-finals. So the top 12 drivers making it through. Tommy Heikkinen, Kevin Hansen, Armindo Arujo. He starts then on the head of the second row of the grid. That's very impressive there for Armindo. Then Craig Breen, Timmy Hansen, Shushu in the top 6. Then Andy Jordan, Ivan Arez, Gross Asian Ronnie Searock, Ollie Webb, and Ronnie Sample, the last driver to make it through. He, of course, benefiting from that victory in that chaotic Q3 race 1. Molinaro, Tom Coronel, and Perry McCarthy sadly missing out in round 5.
Yeah, that's one of the difficult things, but we need to eliminate somebody at some time, and it's always very difficult for drivers when basically that happens through mostly bad luck, which for Tamara it definitely was. And the other drivers, I'm very impressed with Armindo, I have to say, in his third position. Craig being right up there, starting also from the second row. So I think that's going to be a really, really interesting semi-final.
It really, really is. Well, with that said, thanks to Max, and let's head down to Rachel.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you very much to you, Max, as well. We got Tommy, Kevin, and our wildcard window in our top 3 for our standings. But all could change when it comes to the semi-finals. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back at 3 o'clock for more of the action here from Montalegre.